What is up, baddies? I'm currently in my room editing. I just want to let you guys know that this video right here is gonna be just a compilation of all the trips I've taken to Kendrick Performance and all the stuff that has been accomplished on each trip. I'm gonna try to make this as organized as possible, but my schedule's been hectic, their schedule's been hectic. COVID was some weird times, that's why the truck was there for quite a minute. So I'm excited to bring this thing home and actually start doing my own work to it. It's gonna be going to powder coat. It's gonna hit the shop this week for some body work because I want the paint to come out really, really nice. It's gonna be an air wrap this time. I'm not really revealing the color until the day I drop it, the day I stage it at Wekfest. So we got a lot of work to do, but hopefully we can get it done. So check this out. Just pulled up to KPS. There's the Blue Jay. Let's go check out Bad Luck's.
Probably gonna get the fancier hardware. All stainless stuff. These are from mock-up. We have more sleeves like this on order and relies on roller bearings. For a smooth action that doesn't need any tension and just be a bolt-proof style.
Dude, that's so sick. So how long is this one right here?
This has an 8-inch long base. It's a 2-to-1, so this is 4 and this is 8. He's printing out a 12 and 6, which is a 30% bigger because we wanted the mount lower. With these smaller ones, although they seemed ideal for the coilover ratio, the mount just ends up way too high. And we wanted a lower mounting surface. That way it's stronger with less material. And overall we decided it's gonna look a lot better.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Had to step out of the shop real quick because I don't want to get copyrighted and they're playing some music in there. But basically what Zach was telling me is that the triangular arms that I just showed you guys have to be a little larger, I think 20 or 30% bigger. Oh, look at the size difference.
This is just one of the earlier revisions of our rocker arm for the cantilever system. We ended up going with a bigger arm than this. This is a 4x8, it's a 2-to-1 ratio, being that the suspension cycle is 2-to-1 to the coilover we have. The issue I had with this arm is it ended up just being a little too short for what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that the push rod from our suspension stayed centered in our C notch and of course in the lower control arm. Didn't want it too close to the frame rail over here. I think things look better when they're set up nice and centered. So I'm gonna make a longer arm that comes out and mounts to this point here instead of bringing the push rod in. The other thing is I really liked, I like a lot of the texture we have going on here with the bolts, the standoffs, mixed in with the large spherical bearings. It all looks good. It's just a little too dense compared to the spacing we have on the rest of the frame. The center support is a pretty important piece of this whole thing. This box structure here is very strong and has been reinforced on the interior to keep it from buckling, because we do have the entire weight of the vehicle pushing on a small point pretty far away from our mounting surface. We wanted to design a tab, essentially, or a bracket that would hold our coilovers and it wouldn't look too, obtuse. Not too big of a thing. I didn't want to run a bunch of tubes across the bed like some kind of off-road truck, because that's not what we're doing here. Wanted to keep the bracketry looking like bracketry. So we did that, but this rib is important to keep the entire structure from folding forward under the weight of the vehicle when the coilovers are both pushing forward on it. So this one's pretty hefty. It's 1/4-inch steel, and it is pocketed to keep it as light as possible while keeping the thickness where it counts.
Here at KPS. I keep calling it KPS, it's literally Kendrick Performance. So this is where the truck's at, so you know where I'm at. Let's go check it out. Yeah. So right now, what are we working on?
Well, it's all coming together here. Essentially what we're doing is we're making our vertical actuator rod, or push rod, however you want to call it. The one we're making right now is like a dummy rod. It's a quick throw together piece. to get the suspension activated, get the vehicle on its weight, make sure everything's working properly. And then once we like it, once we've cycled this thing through its suspension, we've gone up and down on it, and we might even road test it a little bit with these cheaper Heims, then we'll go ahead and once we know all the measurements are correct, we'll order all the stuff from rodends.com, or just call it FK and have them send everything out, where it's really, really high quality stuff made to fit. That stuff is, of course, about 4 times as expensive as the Ace hardware unit. So we start with this, get all our math correct, and then we'll move up to the big boy stuff before it goes out onto the road for daily use.
Thanks, yeah. All right, so we realized that this spring rate is gonna be a little too soft for the truck. I already got the return started at Summit Racing. Basically, these are 300-pound spring rates. We're gonna be moving up to 450. And then in the front, I think we're gonna be going with 650. So we're gonna get these swapped out real quick. Let's see how those feel though. I'll take it. All right, so we are here at Kendrick Performance. As you guys can see, Josh kind of already got started disassembling everything here. This is a torsion bar, the Willwood's right there, spindles right here. Whoa, that's cool. So smooth. Here is the upper coilover mount right here, made by StabFab. This is the outer tie rod. Here's a sway bar. Here's the tension rod at the bottom. I'm not sure where the lower control arm is. Josh probably has it somewhere that he's working on it. So what I'm going to start doing is taking off the entire steering linkage right here. This is a gearbox. Take that off, disconnect the ball joint, and we're on our way. Wow, that was easy. Step 1, remove intake. All right, so I'm just gonna start taking this thing off. Oh, he actually already disconnected the steering shaft. That's good. Oh, we could just wiggle out. Nice.
Yeah, so they'll get welded up like that. Ball joints will bolt back on. There'll be sleeves in here just like your original stuff. That'll all bolt back on and we'll be good to go.
So baddies, what we got here is the steering linkage. Originally, here's the idler arm, here's a shock, here's a center link, here's that Kessler bump stop kit, bump steer actually. Come on over here. This is the power steering gearbox. If you guys want it, it's gonna be on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. Now that I took off this piece underneath, you guys can see that looks very, very similar. This is gonna go in place of this thing right here. And now we can just bolt the 93 Ford Mustang rack and pinion onto this. All right, so this is the steering shaft right here. I originally had like a 2-piece collapsible type, but now we got the StabFab one right here. And this one is gonna allow me to plug in a 93 Toyota pickup steering wheel, I guess, to a 93 Ford, oh, I just realized they're both 93s. 93 Ford Mustang rack and pinion right here. Let's get to it, we got a lot of work to do. All right, so now we're under the truck. As you guys can see, those 2 screws here, and there's 2 on the opposite side. Rack and pinion goes directly bolted to this. Now we just have to install the offset bushings on the actual rack. And from there, we bolt it up to here, and then run the steering shaft that's gonna snug right behind the engine mount right there, and right near the header, and then straight into the car. All right, so what I'm basically doing right now is pressing out the 1-piece bushings and putting in these 2-piece bushings. They're offset too, so as you guys can see, the hole isn't directly in the middle. And that's because StabFab's rack and pinion kit is 16 inches apart each hole. This is 15 and a half. And depending on which rack you get, it varies. It could be 16, it could be 15 and a half. I'll link in the description, a link to his site where you can get all this stuff for your 93, I think it varies. It's like 95 to 79 Toyota pickups. But yeah, we're installing these offset bushings, and now we just have to press this one out. So I was hitting this for about like half an hour, and then Zach comes in and just presses them out like in 2 minutes. So yeah. Thank you. All right, so now I'm gonna be replacing this thing right up there with this one right here. It just bolts on. You just remove the stock hardware, put the new one on. It's the very next day. I have this undercoating pro grade rubberized black coating, I guess, that we're gonna be spraying here on the frame itself, just so it's, you know, preventing some rust. And also here, but we're not gonna do this until the truck is actually home because I need to pressure wash all this so you guys can see how it's like really dirty right there. So I'm gonna make sure it's all clean. I'm also gonna take off the fenders and paint under here. So let's just get to undercoating the frame right now. It looks really, really nice. Look at that. Super smooth. Highly recommended. So now we're gonna go ahead and install this thing. StabFab measuring everything with precision right here. You see the clearance between this? That's the lower half of the engine mount. It's fully on there. It's golden, dude. Clearing by a tiny, look at that. Ooh, barely. All right, look at how it looks. Clean. So one thing I was worried about is that this rack and pinion would get in the way of the custom splitter that KPS made me. The splitter hangs slightly lower, but check out how flush that is with everything. This piece right here is behind it, and look at how flush that is. Perfect. Just notch the splitter a little bit and we're in business. Check that out. StabFab rack and pinion kit. Powder coated, 93 Ford Mustang rack, offset bushings. Beautiful.